What's going on, guys? Russ with GritShift. Just want to give you an update on the XXX. As you can see, it's torn down into however many pieces this is. I don't really want to count. Some interesting findings when I was tearing it down. Some things you guys may want to look out for if you own this bike. One of the big major things is there is no Loctite on this bike anywhere. Like absolutely anywhere. Jack shaft bolts, I could take them off by hand, holding the jack shaft in my hand with the wrench. So if you're gonna own it and you're gonna ride it, I would fully advise you to break into the bike a little bit, put some Loctite in it. Even the motor mounts and some of the things that were marked like they were gonna be Loctite in. I actually have a great example right here. This is the motor mount bolt. You can see there's Loctite on the end, but it doesn't do you any good when the threads are clean. So if you own the bike, I would definitely say tear it down, put some Loctite on it, lubricate stuff too. The jack shaft was an absolute pain to get out because there's no lubrication on it anywhere. So if you own the bike, I would say spend a day, undo some bolts, put some Loctite on there, put lubrication on your shafts, put it back together. The other thing I want to advise you guys, it's probably fine from the factory, but if you are going to ever remove your battery, it's kind of interesting. I got the cables right here. This connector kind of just sits in a little notch right here. And that's kind of all this is. If you're going to be taking this battery in and out, be careful. Don't get this thing pinched in a weird way that it's going to actually pinch the cables, because that could be a pinch point. So something to watch out with there. As for my thoughts on the bike, very curious. It seems like this is definitely a budget bike from KO. Even the gauge of wire is very, very small. So guys that are planning on putting some big power on here, can definitely see some issues coming out where you're gonna want to do upgraded wires, upgraded phase wires, lots of little upgrades to make it more complete, I'll say. So that's something that's gonna be interesting, because I really think that if you start trying to go the route of like the Saran and the MX4, you're gonna get into the point where it's gonna be like, hey, it was a budget bike, but you're gonna have to spend more elsewhere to kind of get it up to snuff. So gonna be interesting to see how, when parts start coming out for it, how people react with that. The other interesting thing I found is this frame. Unique design, but I'm very curious of the strength. If you look right here, this is like a 3 mil thick box for the battery. Well, this 3 mil box goes all the way up and is their main frame support. So if you guys are gonna try to jump it, take that with a grain of salt. I haven't done any, I didn't design it, so I don't know the CAD analysis on it, but I would be very curious to see what the actual structural quality is if you are going to be jumping it, bottoming out, things like that, because we've seen Saran frames break. So, interesting thoughts though. So, we'll see what this thing becomes. It's fun for stock. It's like the best stock wheelie bike ever, so I don't know.